Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Amazing Tennis Podcast. Today on the podcast, I've got someone whose name you've probably come across if you've been anywhere near tennis content online, Karue Sell. He's a former UCLA standout, a pro tennis player, a YouTuber, and now he's documenting his return to the tour at 30 years old through his awesome series, Turning Pro at 30. He's built a huge online presence helping players understand the game better. So let's dive into his journey, content creation, and what it's really like chasing pro tennis dreams the second time around. So, hello. Thank you so much for being my guest. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, we've
Um,
we've talked about this for a while, but we finally made it
yes.
happen.
Yeah, you had to get injured
I know.
to have time because, I mean, playing all year long and with the schedules, it's so tough. It's so
Yeah.
tough to organize anything, and the content creation. Anyways, tell me more about. I want to start with your just your journey. Like you went to UCLA, right? But you
Hmm.
came from Brazil to UCLA, yes?
Yes.
Um, and you did you play pro before going to college or no?
Very little. I was playing a lot of ITFs,
Mm-hmm.
and some futures in Brazil and stuff like that, but never really. I came at like 18, turning 19. I never really gave it a big shot in the pros. I
Yeah.
played at some futures. I had some points, but I just did not feel ready for that life at all. College was always sort of in the back of my mind, and to me, it didn't make any sense to just go play futures, given that you could get a free education basically and play some really
Mm-hmm.
high level tennis for a while.
Yeah, and then how was your college experience? Good?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. And sort of I landed at UCLA last second, and
Mm-hmm.
we had a great team. Multiple guys got to top 100, multiple guys got to top 300. We were number one in the country for a year. We were close to winning a national title on my freshman year and my sophomore year. So we were competing, for the biggest prize, which was cool. It didn't feel like we were just kind of trying to maybe win a conference title and that was about it.
Yeah.
So we were always like on the edge. The team was very competitive. I got along great with the coaches, so it was just to me
Great. Yeah.
the most fun I've had. Playing tennis. I don't think
Yeah.
I've had that much fun playing tennis since or before. So I
Yeah.
think that team aspect of it makes it really really cool.
No, that's amazing because you don't hear always like great experiences
It's
about
not always. I
colleges.
I think I've gotten lucky. I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of people. It really depends on the coach. It really depends on their
Yes.
philosophy,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
on a lot of things. We really got along well with Billy and Grant and Rickers, who were the coaches at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think maybe they allowed us to do our thing a little bit more. We were just so good and competitive with each other that I think
Yeah.
that sort of naturally made us try to get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had instances where I've even worked in places where I could tell the players are not having a good time, and so I was like,
Yeah.
that is such a bummer. I was like, I felt so
Yeah.
bummed out for them because I was like,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
experience was so fun. Like, why aren't you guys
Yes.
having a good time? But
Yeah.
I do feel bad for players who end up in a place that they just don't enjoy.
But what do you recommend for somebody like? Did you know that before going to UCLA? No, you just
No, it was. I was
it
actually going to
was.
go to Florida State, and then
Oh wow. Okay.
last second, a position opened up at UCLA because I needed a good amount of scholarship. It's obviously maybe not
Yeah.
100%, but I needed,
Yeah.
and that it sort of opened up last second. Marcos was on the team. We knew each other from juniors, and a couple other guys that we knew from juniors were getting on the team, and
Mm-hmm.
it just worked out, and so to me it was just lucky. It was lucky that I was in a place where I love. I really fell in love with California. So it all
Mm-hmm.
sort of it's a bit of
Yes.
fate at this point. It's as you have no control of that. But it is tough to how do you as a 16, 17-year old figure
No,
out
yeah, exactly.
if
Yeah.
that's like, because the problem is like, as a recruiter, right, the coach is going to sell you on
Yeah,
maybe not the reality of it. I don't, did you
exactly.
go to college?
Yeah, I went to Baylor.
How was that? There
On
you go.
It wasn't great
I
the
mean,
whole
Waco,
time.
Waco stuff.
Have you been to Waco or no?
Oh yeah, we played NCAAs there.
Yes,
We
exactly.
played them multiple times there.
I mean, we're not gonna talk about this
Yeah,
stuff.
that's fair. So yeah, so that, so that's like, I think, the tricky part, because you're gonna get sold on maybe one thing, but the reality is, and you can't blame too much the coaches, because they have so much on their plates as well. They're recruiting. They're always having to figure out what's the next year.
Yes, yeah.
You're dealing with a bunch of you know let's face it, like, we're not easy to work with at 18
No,
years old to 22 years old,
exactly,
like, we're
exactly.
so, once I sort of worked in college tennis, I realized it wasn't for me. I was like, oh, there's a lot of, like, paperwork and dealing with, like,
Yes, yes.
administration, and it
Uh,
wasn't just coaching and stuff. So I I, I realized that it's like, oh, this it's a much more corporate job than
then
we
tennis, yeah.
think it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's hard for them to manage all of us. So
Hmm.
I do have to have sympathy for them, but at the same time, it's like, it's tricky when you go to a place that you unfortunately didn't have a good experience.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that. So I just went back there last year after I haven't really talked to my coach for like 8, 9 years. Like honestly, lost touch and some things happened. But then once I like started talking to him again last year, and I'm more mature and been through so much. I mean, I thought it was only his fault back then,
Yeah,
and I just saw it from my side as a 18, 19, 20-year old, right? And then now it's like, oh my God, that was so difficult. It was
oh
so
yeah,
difficult to work with me, like, but not just me. Like you have 8 to 10 girls like that on the team, and you have to manage all of that, like so much drama, so much. And I thought it was just, oh, it was the coach. He didn't understand me. And
yeah,
all this stuff when, like you said, there's so many things that go behind and you're like, but
yeah.
anyways, yeah.
100%, because I think, like, you think about it, you're managing 10, 12 players with completely different personalities, right? Like,
Personalities,
that's the
yes.
main thing. Like, I was almost like a grumpy guy. I was quiet, like a little bit moody, and so, like, I don't think the coaches, like, knew how to approach me so
Yeah.
much, and so, like, when I didn't have, like, I was a big team player. Like, I did terrible in the fall. I loved the dual matches. I didn't care about the fall, so
Hmm.
I always wanted to, I lost very few dual matches in my career, and so, but every once in a while I was like, oh, maybe I should be playing higher, maybe, but you don't really know how to communicate very well at that
Yes.
age, and
Yeah.
you just get angry, and just you're running on
Yes.
emotion. So,
Yes.
nowadays I think all of us that were on the team that maybe had some issues with our coach, like, we just, like, kind of love him, because he's just like, he's just like a good guy.
Yeah.
He was, like, trying his best. So,
Yes. Yeah.
um, yeah, it's maturity takes time, right?
Maturity takes time. It takes
It takes a
time,
lot of time. It takes a lot of living.
Yes. But okay. So you played after college. I
Yeah,
just want to like take it like a little step by step. And what was your like highest ranking? I saw it like
I got
four
to, like,
something.
370, 378, I
370.
think.
Okay.
I played for about a year and a half, like, really on and off. Like,
Okay.
I'd play a couple weeks, have to coach a couple weeks, back to
Mm-hmm.
playing, have to coach,
Yeah.
and just kind of, like, it was really, I was never fully both steps, like, in, but I was, like, trying to do, like, the best I could. So yeah, it was there. It was like, I started late 2017,
Okay.
and I basically call it, like, I want to say it was kind of was interesting enough. It was very similar to, like, this comeback last in 2023, where it's like, I was like, oh, I'm playing a lot of men's open, so I went and played a bunch of men's opens, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll go play a future here. It was in Claremont,
Mm.
and I was in qualifying, and I, like, qualified. It was like 4 rounds to qualify, and, like, I won the tournament. So, like, it was literally my first tournament that I was like, oh, maybe I'll give this a go again, playing pros, and I won it. And I was like, well, I guess I have to really give it a go. And so it just sort of pushed me into doing it. but again, financially, it was very hard to stay out there, and you're at the time you're dealing with different things too, dealing with like switching visas, and you know how it is. You're a foreigner, you know how like all that stuff can stress you out too. So it was a good couple of years, but I couldn't. I wouldn't say like I was very locked into what I was doing.
And then you went to coaching?
Yeah, then I had actually a small like little injury towards the end of like 2018. Nothing major, but just something that like sidelined me for a little bit, and I started doing some coaching on the side, and I just kind of got lucky with some clients where it's like, all of a sudden you're coaching like, 4 or 5 hours a day. And, it's the first time in your life you're making some money,
Yeah. Yeah, I
and
know.
you're like,
I
whoa, this
know.
is nice. I'm
I know.
25, you're
This
making,
is
I don't
nice.
know,
Yeah.
$400 in a day, just like teaching 4 hours, 3 to 5 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
And then it continues to happen and you get more clients and you sort of snowballed kind of fast, and it just got to a point. So in 2019, the tour did like the transition tour, which was like this thing where the ITFs didn't give any more points. It was like a whole thing. It was like they were trying to like make the rankings like smaller or whatever. And so I was basically at 500 in the world, having to restart from zero because I couldn't get in challengers. I wasn't getting ATP points in future. So it was like a whole thing. I have to build an ITF ranking. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember,
So
but yeah.
it was the dumbest thing ever. So I just was like, at that point, I'm already kind of, making some money coaching. I'm like, what am I doing? And I just kind of called it quits and just really never looked back.
Okay, good. And then, okay, and then let's start. Like, so what inspired the idea of the turning pro at 30? Like, what happened? Like, and how did you come up with this whole thing? Like, to do the content, to like, what was the inspiration behind it?
I think so. In like late 2019, 2020, me and a friend, we started mytennishq.com. It was just supposed to be like a more, at the time, like the, creating websites, Google SEO, just trying to create, some passive income, really just something on the side that we both like wanted to work together. My buddy had a lot of experience with that part of the business. But I was always, I think, just good at, dealing with social media and making content. And it was, I was a little geeky with cameras, and I just learned everything like on YouTube, really. And my buddy was like, well, maybe you should start doing YouTube because it could, bring traffic to the site and whatnot. And at the time I had just started working with Naomi here in LA. So I was like, well, I guess I can, I'll be able to share some cool stuff that people haven't seen here. Maybe, a fresh face in the space. I think there at the time there was kind of like a few players in this like YouTube space that had been around for a long time, but there wasn't anything like really fresh coming in. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll come in and we'll start with some coaching, with some you have to figure out the game or how to grow, right? Like we were doing a lot of racket reviews in the beginning just to try to like get people in, to see who we were, as it was still My Tennis HQ, and he slowly but surely started growing, and he just kind of became really my job, my side of the business became that. We weren't making any money, right? But like we were making some money from, you just like, but if you can keep doing it, it grows. And, I just kind of took that as a side thing to do while I was, traveling Naomi, or if I was just coaching, something a little more exciting to just like be working for yourself. And he kind of kept growing, and then he sort of got to a point where I think the turning pro, like playing tennis professionally, was never a part of like the plan at all. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna grow this and then I'm gonna go back on tour. That was not a plan. It was just like towards the end there of like, or in 2023, I started playing some tournaments, some UTR events, and between like coaching and playing. So I was just like, oh, coach some weeks with Marcos, go play some UTR events when I could. And I started like just enjoying playing again. And I figured, I was like, oh, F it. I'm just going to go get a point just for content. It was really just for content. You know what I mean? I was just like, there was other people, trying to do the content and the pro stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll just go play, see what happens. I ended up getting a point in Tunisia, or a couple points in Tunisia. But I still wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go play pros.
Okay.
And then afterwards, and then my next event, I won it. And then it was just like, well, I guess I have to do it again. It was just like one of those. It's just like, it made a decision for me. So, and then, I just kind of like went all out. Like I started fully that end of 2023, started training and doing fitness again, things that I hadn't done in a long time. And now we're here. It goes by
Now we're
quick too.
here.
We're already like almost middle of 2025.
It's crazy, and like it's crazy how fast you came to. I mean, to your best ranking. You
Yeah.
know, like, I mean,
I was
tell
not
me
expecting
how
that.
did you do
Trust me.
it?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, to be honest.
Did you
I
have a
think like
plan? You did. Obviously, you didn't really have a plan because you were
no.
just kind of like, okay, let me do this, and then one
Yeah.
thing
Well,
after
that
another.
I operate a lot like that. So that's something
That's
that,
good though.
I
I
operate a
like
lot
that.
on like just
Yeah.
gut feeling. Just like
Yes.
this seems like the right thing to do. This
Yeah.
I've always done that. My former business partner, he's always like, he jokes that I'm just walking through life and I walk through different doors that open, and I just like, oh yeah. But I've always, I make decisions fast that way. I'm like, I'm doing it, and if like it eventually, I don't look back, and if it works out, works out. It doesn't work out, doesn't work. Like if I were to say I'm gonna quit, like playing pros, I quit. I don't even look back. I'm like, I'm good. That's the decision. So I'm not gonna like stew into that. I'm concerned more about the future than the past always. So I'm more of like a future dweller. But with I didn't really have a plan. It was just more, I think I had confidence. I was playing a lot of matches. I won futures, I won UTR events. And then in the beginning of 2024, I started with a UTR event just to get some matches and got some reps. And, you win that. And then I immediately won a 25. So I started the year with like back-to-back like titles. And regardless of the size of the title, it's just like you come in like winning. And then you try to ride that. And I think it's sort of, I did a great job riding it for the first ride, like 6 months of the season, where I was just playing more futures. But the real test was always going to be in the challengers. That was the main. Once I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's like I need to get to challengers, and I need to see if I'm good enough there. That's been the entire goal now.
Yeah, and then, okay, fast forward now, you're injured, and you're
Yeah.
because you were okay. Wait, no, let's not fast forward. Let's stay. Let's still stay there because our stories are so similar, right? So to 25 now, I started with UTRs like you did in 24, and I won 4 of them in a row. Like I made some really good money, like 3,600 times 4. It's like, oh my God, I'm rich, you know? And now, like, I'm transitioning now to the ITS, the 50s and 35s. I'm skipping the whole Tunisia and Egypt grind because I feel like if I have the level, like,
Don't do it.
I got the match confidence here, but like if I have the level, like, I'm gonna win also at 25 here or 50. But the thing is, it's tough, right? Like
Yeah.
I cannot just go and also at this age, it's like I'm not gonna go and just grind in 15s for what to be like 500, you know, and then what? Like I want to throw, like you said, I want to throw myself out there and play top 300, top 200
Yeah.
to see if I have the level and if I actually should be doing it or not, and be realistic with myself. So you kind of okay. So you did that, but you won a 25, and then how did you decide like what tournaments to play throughout the year? Are you the one deciding it on your own, or you have people, coaches that you consult with that tell you, oh, you should play this? Like, how do you decide ultimately what to play? Today's video is sponsored by Lucky in Love. Gone are the days of ladies' golf and tennis apparel that all look the same. Lucky in Love is ushering in a new age. The high-end women's apparel brings options fit for the modern, expressive woman. Partake in the ultimate luxury and shop Lucky in Love for your new favorite fashion items for women. Also, super exciting news. You can now shop my collection with Lucky in Love. Designing this was such a dream, and I'm so proud to share it with you. And use code EB20 to get 20% of your next purchase?
I mean, I'm the one deciding. To me, it was more like in the beginning of the year. It's tricky in the first like 3 months. The US doesn't really have a lot of events. It's
Yeah.
always very tricky. So I had to play. I played in Ithaca. I won a 25. Then I lost the first round afterwards. And then there was nothing in February. So I just ended up going to like Portugal. I did Egypt for a week, and it was like stupid. I don't know why I did that. I just did it because like the Portugal events were really stacked. Like I was like 650 not making main draw. So I was like, ah, maybe I'll go somewhere to just like try to like get a 15. But by now, like obviously I have the experience, a little bit more experience on like trying to look for maybe conditions that will suit my game a little bit more. But also a lot of it plays into the travel. Like I will play a much harder tournament that is nearby home than go really far. Like they have tournaments in West Africa all the time, and China, and I'm just not going to do that. And that's, to me, I'm trying to. I Last year I ended up like doing maybe slightly too much travel. Like I was going to South America a lot. I've been enjoying playing on clay, so I'm trying to mix playing the US, playing on in South America, just because it changes who we're playing against. Otherwise you're just stuck playing the
Yes.
same guys every week.
Yes. Yes.
And I like a little bit of clay. Sometimes it slows the match down a little bit for me. But yeah, scheduling wise, I'm just trying to make it so that one, I'm right now, especially if I'm making main draws of challengers, that's what I'm gonna do. But in general, just trying to like limit the amount of like traveling, like that, to a point where it's like, okay, like it's doable, because otherwise that really like the traveling really is the one thing that gives me a lot of like anxiety. I just it messes up your body, messes up your schedule, like it's very hard to for me to deal with. So but I think I've been doing a little bit better job this year at managing that.
So when it comes to traveling, sorry, this is a personal question. Um, when it comes to the traveling, you say recently, I think I saw you got engaged, right?
Hmm. Got married last
Congratulations.
summer.
Oh, you got married. Sorry,
Yeah.
got married, engaged, something like that. Congratulations. So, is that mostly the reason that you don't want to travel, or is it that you don't like the traveling in this part on your, like, how it affects your
It's
body? Because
both.
is it okay?
It's definitely both, because of one, it's like I like to be a little bit closer to home. In let's say you go play 2 or 3 weeks. On that third week or the second week, if it doesn't work out, or you lose first, second round, you get on a plane, you're home maybe in 4 hours, right? If you're in Florida. But if you're in Egypt somewhere, it's going to take you a lot longer. Again, it's part of the sport. It's not a big deal, but you know, I, my wife works like full time. We have 2 dogs. Like I want to be able to help, obviously. And then two is just like really is, I don't nowadays. I mean, airfare, it traveling by plane is not very fun in any way, right? Like you're crammed in a seat, and it's expensive. You're dealing with just all kinds of like you're dealing with visas for other countries. Coming back to the US is always tricky. Like I have a green card, but it's always like everything is just, there's a bit of a level of anxiety to me that I don't enjoy, being on the road. Even when I was traveling with like Marcos or Naomi, that you're living maybe a nicer lifestyle. I'm just a bit of a homebody, and I like to be home. I like to be in California. I like to road trip more than I like to fly. And it's that's all it is. It's nothing major. It's just like I think I'm maybe past the age where I'm like when you're 21 and it's like everything is new and it's whatever. Like you can but I think when you sort of get to a point where you maybe have a level of comfort in your life, that it's like it's difficult. And look, people may criticize. It's like, no, you have to be able to grind. I'm like, look, like again, I'm not 16. I've done a lot of the grind. I've put myself in a situation where it's like I'm happy with the life that I have. So I'm not going to kill myself for this. I just want to, again, be able to perform and be able to have a good time on the road. And I'm just trying to remind myself of like that for the most part.
No, that's great. I like that.
And plus, you're alone, right? Like I travel alone. I mean, after
Yeah,
a week and a half, like I've had zero human contact basically, aside from like
the
practicing with my buddies and stuff. Like, you're having dinner with your iPad every night. So
but isn't it? I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I mean, I do content, but like not as much as you. Differently, we do it differently
yeah,
because I cannot edit and do all this stuff. Like, probably it would do better for me and my YouTube and stuff if I did more long form and did that. I just don't have the patience for it.
yeah,
I cannot. But like, don't you think creating this online community and doing this and playing tournaments, it's really not as lonely as it was like before, at least for me. Like when I
yeah.
post there, when people write me, yes, I'm alone, but it still feels like I'm not, in a weird way. I don't know how to describe this. Does it
Yeah,
make
I mean, I
sense?
think I think maybe all of us that are doing the content maybe have this connection with the fan base. Like, like my last video that I posted with the injury, like I had a lot more support than I was expecting.
Oh, yeah.
In the comments and stuff like that. And so yes, I think nowadays, like with having content, with having a fan base, I guess if you want to call it that, like you can be maybe a little bit less alone out there. But I sometimes struggle with just like being online, like you're constantly just trying to be online. You're maybe a little bit concerned about the numbers, and because you're playing pro sports, but then you're also playing this like
Yes.
content game, right? That
Yes. Yes.
it can be difficult to to manage as well. So you have you basically have two full-time jobs. And so sometimes
Yes.
I actually just really need the separation from it. If I'm in a tournament, there are weeks where I'm like, I'm going to film a lot, I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
But there are weeks where I don't have the brain power, and I'm just like, look, I'm not going to film. I'm going to try to use all the brain power I have left to play the matches, and that's about it. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a push and pull. It's a little bit of a, you have to be able to turn it off a little bit sometimes. So
Yeah.
but it gives you, I think at least for me, it gives you something other than just like, being on your phone or being like watching Netflix. You can actually work a little bit on the day off
Yes.
or something. So it's
Yes.
kind of cool as
Yeah.
well.
But so that's what I was gonna ask you. How do you like? Do you feel pressure to like perform? As I mean, for sure you do a little bit like in every way, but like because you're posting so much and like you're sharing everything. Do you have like? Do you think it's an added pressure when you're playing? Like
Uh,
because you're showing
no, yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Not so much, to be honest. I think I've always, you know, I think the pressure that you feel is always like, to me, is just like from a player side. I don't really think about the content so much, or just like that. That's adding. Oh, there's 160,000 people that are gonna have an opinion on this. For whatever reason, it doesn't create more pressure. I feel like I feel more pressure just sometimes when you're on the road and you feel the pressure to have to put something out, right? While you might not have like a great video to put out, or
Yeah.
you have to maybe
Yeah.
fabricate something that
Yeah.
isn't there. So that I struggle with it a little bit more. But when I'm playing, it's just the normal pressures of playing. It's just,
Okay.
you're not, this year I haven't had a great year so far. Like I've been playing great tennis, but haven't gotten like the results that I wanted or expected, and some bad luck with injuries and things like that. And all of a sudden last year I played, I don't know, 70 matches, and this year I've played 10 in 4 months. So it's like, that's kind of the unfortunate part. But no, not. It can be tricky. I think obviously I had a really good year last year, so I think in its own way took care of that pressure. But now that I'm not having as good of a year, will it affect me more? I don't think so. I like to think it doesn't, but we'll see.
We'll see. Well, I hope so. Now this injury, you're out for how many? 4 to 6 weeks, or
I think. I think by May I'll be hitting. I think by mid-May I'll be playing again. So it's not too bad. I think it's going by faster. I'm walking okay now. It's just a calf like muscle like tear where it's like there's nothing you can do really. You just have to rest. So
But it's crazy.
it's
It just happened during the match out of nowhere. You
yeah,
just felt the pop, like
yeah,
as you started running to the drop shot. That was it.
yeah. It just like as soon as like I went, it just like you felt it. It was like, oh no, that because never had happened to me like something on in a match. I've had
Yeah.
little injuries, but nothing in a match.
Uh,
And yeah, this time it was just one of those. But yeah, it's I guess an injury is just the body saying that you need to take it a little easier for a little
yeah.
while, and could have been a much worse thing. Like it could be a ligament or something like that, and so I'm trying not to overthink it. I was playing really great coming in, and that was like kind of the annoying part. I was training well. I was
Yes.
like
Yeah.
finding like
Yes.
really starting to I think find the game for the year again, and that just sort of sets you back a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I don't really have much to defend yet, so I think my ranking won't be dropping too much. So hopefully I can have a good May and June there. But yeah, just taking it easy now.
You all know how much time I spend on court, and having the right equipment makes a huge difference. That's why I've been using Gamma Sports for over 10 years. Their grips, strings, and on court accessories like ball hoppers and nets are some of the best out there. Whether you're training or competing, Gamma has the gear to keep you ready to play. Check them out at gammasports.com and use code EMA25 for 25% off your order. So you said earlier that you're like somebody that takes it like kind of day by day and like when you have an opportunity and kind of just like with your gut feeling. But do you e- even if you're like that, do you still like to like set some goals to be like, okay, this is what I want to do by the end of the year, or you kind of don't like doing that because some people like it, some people don't. Like
Yeah.
how is your mindset when it comes to that?
It's a good question. You're thinking more like in terms of my tennis.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
tennis.
like
Your
yeah,
tennis, like, oh, I want to be this ranking. Oh, I want to play US Open. Oh, I want this. Oh, if like, I
I
mean, we're not,
I
yeah.
I think I so towards the end of the year there, I was really close to making it to Australia. I got to like I think
Okay. Yeah, I saw that.
258,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was basically just like one deep result away from making it. Right, like if I made a semi or a final of a challenger, I was in the quarter. I lost 7-5 in the third in the quarters of a challenger that I think I could have won. And but leading up to that, like it was probably like October or late September, I was like, okay, like this is real. Like I can chase Australia now. Like I don't have anything to defend. Like I'm playing challengers now. I'm winning a good amount in challengers. So I started sort of I started kind of setting that narrative for the channel. Like, hey, I'm chasing Aussie. Let's see what happens. And
Yeah.
make it or not, good story. I don't think he put extra pressure on me. To be honest, I just didn't get the wins that I was playing really well at the end of the year, but I was also like I think fatigued at the end of the year. I couldn't last past like a set and a half. I would just like play unbelievable for a while and then just fall apart. So it was like just tough at the end of the year. I played a lot of matches, and so I didn't make it, but it was part of it. I think this year going into the year, I'm like, I also don't have much defending. I had a 25 that came off, but I was still top 300. And so I'm playing challengers for the most part, main draws. And, I don't have much to defend. So I'm like, man, I can make it to the French Open. I have like 4 months to really go
To
at it.
make it. Yeah.
In my head, I was like, I'm for sure going to make it. And now it's like, it was completely not that. So I think I maybe put a little bit of too much pressure on that. And so I'm just trying to I don't necessarily work that well with this like sort of setting like this like major goals. Obviously to me it's very simple. I want to get top 200. I want to play the slams. I want to win a challenger. Those are sort of like ideally my goals for the year. But beyond that, I just need to sort of like take a step back, train, play good ball, there's no, you know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the,
Yeah.
otherwise I think you start like overcomplicating, and I don't operate very well when things are too complicated. Like even I
Yeah.
said it in a video recently where I was like making some changes on my serve because like we statistically you need to get better there, and then blah blah blah, and you start like sort of like getting out of like, just like what are the things that you just like really do freaking well like all the time, and you're maybe so concerned with things that like you maybe aren't as natural at, and then the game just kind of like is in a weird place where you're disappointed that maybe, like I worked a lot on my serve and I go and play a match and I'm serving bad and I'm like, but then I don't do the other stuff and I'm just worried about my serve. I'm like, so to me, I just need to keep things very simple, like be fit, hit quality shots like I can hit, and just compete, and everything else hopefully solves itself. So I have those three goals, but I also am not thinking about it. I'll just go, leg by leg on the year. Like let's play those three events, see where we're at, go for the next
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. No, that's interesting that you say that. I mean, I think I think for everybody, like once you start over complicating it so much and over analyzing and your forehand and your backhand and your serve, and then you get so caught up in that that you stop like actually enjoying the game. Like and you're there. I don't know, as cheesy as it sounds like you have to be free out there. You
Yeah.
have to free yourself from those thoughts. But obviously you have to keep growing and keep working on your shots, right?
Yes. You have to keep
But
working, but
simple.
like you coach, right? So
Yeah.
you, like think about like some of the matches you've played, like right, without even training that much, that you've just been coaching a while, you're seeing everyone making all the mistakes that they make, right? And all the garbage that like you see in your coach trying to get those things out of the players. And then you go play a match and you're just so aware of all of that that you're so good. I'd play matches like I wasn't even training, but I was so aware of like the decision making because I had been teaching the decision making relentlessly for months, and you're just not really thinking about the stroke. You're just like, this is where the ball needs to go, and the ball just kind of goes there. But I think when you get in the thick of it, and your rankings high getting higher, and you're always trying to
Yes.
find a little bit of an
Yes.
edge against
Yes.
the competition, you
Yeah.
can get a little too analytical, a little bit too caught up in like maybe small details that, like, yes, they matter, but they also, like, again, the simple things is like move well, compete well, like get balls in play. You play to your strengths. Try to not overthink when you're like in a weak spot. Just put another ball in, and go from there. So I think the more you're in the thick of playing, the more you start doing that, and that's the complicated thing to do, to be able to step back, just go and like you have to care a lot to train a lot, right? Like to go
Yeah.
and go back to train, but the moment it's like, you know the match starting, you have to like not care. You have to just play and just like not care about the outcome. And so like it's a really difficult thing to do, to care a lot about something, to train every day, but to not care necessarily about the result.
Yeah. And but I think you also need to have I think the confidence comes in that preparation and being disciplined. That knowing that, I mean, it's not like I'm just gonna go into a match and like, oh, I don't care, I'm just gonna relax and play
Yes.
free. But like I know within myself that I put in the work.
Yeah.
Like I've done it. But when it comes to that, at this age, when you're in your 30s, do you like do you train less, or do you think it's still important to like how does your training week looks like when you're not injured? Like
Um,
like how
yeah.
does your week look like? Tell me.
So I so again, I operate a lot of like on feeling, right? So like I will, maybe come back from a couple weeks of training or of playing, and I'm like, I am not physically where I need to be. So for, let's say I have another 2 weeks, on that first week, I'm going to be way more focused on the fitness. like I don't do like, you know, 2 sessions of a day of hitting. You know, it's going to be one session of fitness, one session of tennis. But if I'm like, I need to get the fitness better, will increase like the hour on the, you know, the hours on the fitness, and maybe take a little step back from the tennis. And then maybe after a couple of weeks like that, like I'll give you an example. Like, so I had the shoulder thing. So I was like, I got to take a few weeks off. So I couldn't really serve. Couldn't really hit forehands for maybe like a week and a half or so after I came back, or two. So I was like, let's go hard on the fitness. So I started doing a lot of fitness, you know, a couple hours a day of fitness, maybe a little bit light hitting just with some feeding, right? And then so like I really ramped up the fitness for 2 weeks. But then once my shoulder started like feeling better, and I was like, okay, now I need to like really ramp up the tennis. So I started like taking the load a little bit from the fitness and playing more tennis, playing more sets, playing more points. So to me, it's just like always like sometimes you need that help. Like I like being fed. Sometimes it's like, let's just create my combos. Let me just get reps and see the ball go in for a while. But then you have to go play a lot of points. You got to play sets. You just got to play. So a week for me, it's like I'm just trying to do Monday to Friday, like nothing, like weekend is off, Monday to Friday, and I'll have for sure like at least like 4 days of fitness in there, and then hopefully 4 to 5 days of tennis, and it really, but you know, I'm also like flexible. It's like I do 2 really hard days, like, and my body's like all over the place. It's like I'm taking the following day off, like you know what I mean. So it's like I think once you get to our age, like you just can't train like you used to train. I don't think, like I used to, you know, when I was a teenager, I was doing morning lift, tennis, fitness. That was the day. I'm like, how did we do that? I couldn't. I do that once. Like I wouldn't be able to play for a week now. So, so yeah, you just sort of, you know, have to be a bit more aware and listen to the body a little bit more, and really take it from your matches. Where is it that you're actually falling short here? Right? Like you might say like, oh, I missed this forehand at this moment, but I'm like, but were you moving well? Like, were your stamina like kind of out? Because you know, so at the end of the third set, you just like, you missed that forehand, not because you missed the forehand, you missed it because you're in bad position more often.
Yeah.
So you have to, like, I think, really learn from the matches, and then like try to, you know, go into practice. Okay, hey, I need to get faster, or I need to get, you know, stamina better, or my returns, I need like more reps, or whatever it is. So just go like that.
But are you the one that's like seeing that, or you have a coach? Do you have a coach?
Not really. I mean, I have a couple fitness people that I work with. Andrew from Fit for Tennis, that I see him a couple times a week, and then I started working with with another trainer here, Jackie, near my house, and so I kind of dictate it. Like I'll say, like, look, this is what I feel like I need right now. Like I need more tennis, I need more fitness. Like, and they each have their own like strengths, I think, in terms of like where maybe I go more for cardio and strength, where I'm gonna go for more like on court like drills and fitness and speed and things like that. And but tennis wise, no coach. Like there's no one. Like I bounced a lot of ideas. I'm always talking to people, right? I'm always talking to some of my friends, Marcos, who's one of my best friends. Like we're always just bouncing ideas off. But at this point, I'm trying to limit the voices, just because like I think I'm just at a point in my life where I just don't really want to, as bad as this might sound, I don't really want to listen to anybody. I just want to build a trust on my own thing. Like I did the work. I am good. I'm a good player. Like I can take them out. And that's always been the hardest thing for me. So it's like, let's use this time to challenge myself into that. Again, obviously I'm always open to coaching. And I'm always open to some tips and things like that. But for the most part, just I think the fitness part is the most important part. So it's like, get that done.
I agree. But then, like, don't you? I don't know. I really, so much that you've said, I think so much alike. Like you don't know, but don't you think? But like when you go to a tournament, like don't you think it would be better if you had somebody like there watching you or like helping you with the warm-ups, or like would you like to have
Yes,
somebody? I mean, if you
that
had
so
all the money and support, obviously, right?
so that part would be important. That part would be like, you're in a tournament, and you can, you don't have to worry about who you're going to warm up with. Right? You can just hit with your coach or with the person who's there with you. I think like someone, when Andrew comes to the tournament, sometimes, it's very helpful. The warm up's a little bit better. I don't have to schedule anything with anybody. You can get some. To me, I think what I start missing on the road is like getting someone to feed me some balls, and just like not just play a set with another player, because that's what you
Exactly.
do.
Yeah.
You just like
Yeah.
hit and play a
You just
set.
hit cross courts and volleys and play points. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that can be a little bit tricky. But at the same time, it's just sort of where we're at right now. And so I just kind of have to accept that limitation, and to be honest, I don't really need anyone watching the match. Like it's not.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't want to hear much. I don't want to like. I want to go and play. So to me, I don't need anybody like really talking to me during the match. It's just
Yeah.
more the like pre-post stuff.
Okay. Okay. But are you making money now being at your ranking?
Oh
Like from
no, no,
tennis?
no, no. I mean, it's once you start playing only challengers, and they pay for accommodation. So it's all challenger events. You get, when you're in main draw, you get the first 5 nights paid for.
Yeah.
So if you actually do well in the tournament, like if you're only playing the challenger tour and you winning some matches, or maybe making a final here and there, whatever it is, you actually can be very sustainable. Like it's actually okay. Um, when you're playing futures, not really. When you're playing ITFs, not really. But on the challenger tour, like, wouldn't say I've been making money, but like if you are someone in the top 250, 230, which will make slams, you'll be all right. You'll be actually be able to support yourself, not
Yeah.
take a coach or anything, I don't think, but you'll be able to like survive. But I don't do it for money. Like I really don't think about it, to be honest.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah, it's just like otherwise it's just like, why would I be doing this? If you're thinking about that, like I'd be like this is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make money, you would literally stop and you would just go coaching.
Yeah,
And you would
yeah,
make
it'd be
money.
like
And
so much easier. Or even just like stop and play different, play like club tennis, play like UTR events, play men's
yes,
opens, and you make
yeah,
way more money.
yeah, yeah. Do a little bit content,
Yeah,
like no stress, just.
yeah,
But it's different when you know you're there, your level is there, and you know you're so close that you can do it, and your Grand Slam is like right there. It's like yeah. But just keep doing it, keep pushing.
yeah. No, I will. I will. I'm not going anywhere at least for
Good.
another year or so.
Okay, good, good. Because, yeah, I mean, you're so young.
We're young. 30 is the new 20.
I mean, honestly, I feel better now than I felt
Same,
in my
same,
20s,
100%.
honestly. Um, okay, I have all the questions here. Let me see if I forgot something. But no, I want to do like fun things now
Yeah.
again. Like not that. Uh, do you have any like fun travel stories from ITFs last year? What was your like, and any story, like any experience of being somewhere that you can think of?
I I had it was I don't know if it was funny, but it was just like a very tour moment for me. I went to Portugal. I played a 15 there, had a 25 there. Was in qualies. Actually had a great week. Got to the semis, and they had another tournament there, like same place. And I had decided to go to Egypt because I was like, oh, I'm going to be seated top 3 there. And I never done like Egypt. I did Tunisia, but I never done Egypt. And I sent it there, and one is like a long trip. I get a little bit sick on the way there. So as soon as I get there, you're like in a resort. It's like, it's not a bad place to be. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like the vibe of the place. It's like everyone is like they're trying to sneak out a point and this and that, and the tournament is run so poorly in a way that it's like you barely get practice balls, and it's windy like crazy. And I was just like, as soon as I got there, I think I told my wife, I'm like, I'm not going to make it through a couple rounds here. I don't think it's going to happen. And, you're alone, you're far away, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I had a tough few days. I had to find some proper self-help content online to like get through that. And I played some Egyptian guy second round, and he just like took it to me, and I was like out of there that night. And that sort of was like my first like, okay, we got to make it like, I got to schedule this thing a little bit better here, because I'd much rather be with harder competition, but in a place where like like even with harder competition, you just feel a little bit better. You feel like more into it. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing that stuff. I'm not going past like Spain anymore. Like that's like the furthest east I'm going.
Oh my god. I mean, it's crazy how many times do we like just have that moment of like, what am I doing with my life while you're on
Oh,
ITF tour?
so many
It's like
times.
it's like going from a life in the US and like everything like nice,
Yeah.
but like, and then going to the, you're like, what is happening? But at the same time, it's like, I mean, when I get to those moments, I'm like, well, Emma, you chose to do this. Nobody's forcing you to do this. So,
Yeah.
like,
No,
you
exactly.
know,
You have to remind yourself of that.
I mean, nobody is like, okay, you have to play now. Like, oh my,
Yeah.
or like, no, like you chose to do this. I chose to do this. And I was just like finding a way. And you probably will agree on this, like, throughout, like, I mean, since I started again, it's all trial and error, like figuring yourself out. But at the end of the day, and I agree with what you said, and I actually like that you kind of reminded me now throughout this conversation, like just to trust my gut feeling more and to trust myself more in this process instead of like, because there's so many voices, there's so many people or coaches, and this person is telling you this, oh, you should be doing this, oh, you should be doing this, do this on your forehand, do this on your backhand, do
Hmm.
this on your serve, right? And you're like, and then
Or
some,
even a comment, right? The comments will say like, "You should be hitting
yes,
harder. You can't make it because you don't hit enough winners."
exactly. Oh,
I'm like,
so
okay.
what is your game style?
I call myself like Walmart Agassi. I don't know if you've seen that. So I like to take like the ball early. I like to take time away. I'm not necessarily very powerful naturally. Like I'm a really great ball striker, but not necessarily like raw power. So I've always been good at taking time away. I have a pretty world class backhand, forehand's okay, serve on and off. Um, I don't do anything bad, but I also don't have anything that is like insane. You know what I mean? Just like, I can't serve like Ben Shelton. I can't hit my forehand like Carlos, but I can really, I think I have a high tennis IQ and I can figure it out. But that sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes someone with a freaking load of power and playing Unreal that day, you just can't do it. So I'm definitely just trying to, but it's still something I need to remind myself that like that's what I'm good at. That's what I'm good. Like I actually spent some time with Agassi in the last 2 years through like a friend of mine, and he like watched a couple matches. He gave me a couple tips and all that stuff, and everything that he was saying to my buddy who was trying to like get better, like top 100 player. I was like, I do that. Like that's what I did. Like I was just always like, while my friend was kind of processing it, what Andre was saying, I was like, wait, that's what I do. And that gave me a lot of confidence. That was like before I started, actually. It was like in late 2023. And that gave me a lot of confidence that this is my game. Keep it simple, low blood pressure shots. Like, I'm again, good ball striker, good at taking time away, like good all around player. So I'm like, just like do what you do. Don't feel like you need to over exaggerate spin when I don't play with a lot of spin. So it's like, it's those things that like are hard to, to really create your identity. And then you have to trust your identity, like to a delusional point, I think. And I'm not a really delusional guy. I'm too realistic for my own good. But I think you have to just like be like dilute yourself and be like, look, I'm really freaking good at this, like at what I do, and you need to just hammer that down, because otherwise you too many voices. And I think my tip to like most players is like it's on you to like understand it. Like your gut's gonna tell you a lot. I think personally, I think there's a lot of people who are different. I think a lot of people, I'm I might be more like on the, if between science and art, I would be more in the art side. So like, if you have a more artistic brain, like you don't work so well with just like patterns and like this is what you do. You have to do this like A to B to C. There are players who work very well with that. There are players who don't. Like Carlos is a guy who shouldn't be very like limited to where he plays. He needs to use his creativity, right? Where Sinner is a little bit more of a robot. And both are right. It's just like you have to have an understanding of where you're falling in this,
Yeah.
I think.
100%. You have to know, but it takes time until you figure that out.
Yeah.
But going back to that, it gets tough because you have even people that really, truly, generally want to help you um, with their advice. Sometimes it makes it worse, like because you're like, I didn't ask for the advice, right? Like I didn't ask for like you telling me what I need to do on my serve, because I am actually working on something with my serve now, but
Yeah.
now that's gonna be in the back of my head of like, oh, but maybe I should also add that to my serve. And then
Yeah.
you're adding another thing and you're thinking about five other things where you should just like go, well, it's tough. It's tough because you can't just say to somebody, okay, just go trust your gut feeling, right?
Yes.
Me and you are similar. We can do that and we
Yeah.
should be doing that because I have a really like huge tennis IQ as well, and I figure out the game really well. But like you said, oh, but then this person is telling me, well, if you're not hitting so hard, if you don't have this, you're not gonna make it to top 200. Like you cannot. And then and then I go and I beat top 100 or top 150 with the game that I have of not killing every ball, right?
Yeah.
But yes, I know I need to be more aggressive at certain moments. Like I'm aware of
Yes.
that, right? I agree. But like, do I have to do it all the time? To who knows? I don't know. Like I don't I don't know. There's no one thing for everybody, right?
And I think the tennis is.
This episode is brought to you by Inform, sustainable and stylish tennis, golf, and pickleball wear designed to help you perform your best on and off the court. I love their clean, modern designs and the fact that they're committed to making activewear that's better for the planet. And you can try it out with my code EMMA10, that's EMA10 for 10% off of your order. Head to informnyc.com or check them out on Instagram and upgrade your game the sustainable way.
A tennis match is so dynamic, right? And so like you need to be, I think, so aware of like the exchange that you're having with the player. It's like what's maintaining you in a good position. Sometimes just making balls works because the other player can tell they're like lacking confidence, they're not able to like take it to you, nothing they do is hurting you. So sometimes, yes, not being necessarily out of your comfort zone there might help, but maybe sometimes you're going to play someone who's has a lot of firepower and they're on that day. You're going to have to step it up and try to play, maybe match that. And so it's too dynamic to have like one answer. And so I have the longer I've done this now in terms, especially with the coaching part, the online coaching part and all that stuff, the more I have a hard time actually making that kind of content or talking about it, because there's nothing is ever right. Nothing is 100% true. You know what I mean? So I'm giving a tip that like, yeah, could work for a lot of people, but the reality is like, there's so many ways of doing this. Obviously there's a lot of BS online, don't get me wrong, but in general, I have such a hard time nowadays with the coaching side of it, because I find it that, again, there's too many things are true, but like it's like how can each player, you know, use that information to their advantage, because you can always like I know that I've overcoached kids before, that I did a lot of stuff, and I think I didn't really got their confidence up. I was like way too technical or worrying about things that didn't when you're young, that's what you're trying to like maybe do, and it I don't think is the right approach. So yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky thing to deal with as a player and as a coach.
It is, and on both ends, because you understand the both ends as well. And as you're doing it more, you realize the things that you've done wrong, that, or you as a coach or as a player. But, I also don't look at it as wrong.
No,
Like, it was part of the journey, and otherwise, we wouldn't be learning and we wouldn't be here where we are. And we're still probably making I don't know, some mistakes.
100% making some mistakes. Like I totally would say,
Yeah.
like if I was just coaching, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
I can't just do it all, because like, and there's so many coaches, there's so many people out there like doing things, and they have their own philosophies, and sometimes, for some players it really works, for some players it won't work. And so it's just kind of the way it is, part of this whole like thing that we do, really.
It really is, but it's figuring out yourself as a player, if you're a player, and then as a coach, figuring out your player and knowing
Yeah.
how to, how to
Yeah,
get to them.
it's
the
a lot more
best.
psychological, like
Yeah.
management than anything. And so you have to be, I think, a really good people person in order to actually be a
Yes.
really good coach.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100% agree on that. Well, anyways, I need to go pick up my kids, so let's do
All right.
these rapid fire questions. Do you like these or no?
Yeah, let's do it.
The rapid fire, I have 25.
Ooh, let's go. That's gonna be fun.
But
25.
you have to
That's good.
answer fast. It's a rapid fire. I'm really
Rapid
bad at
fire.
these because when somebody asks me, I'm like, oh, well, anyways, okay. But if you're a quick decision maker, then okay.
We'll
Here
see.
we
We'll
go.
see how it
Ready?
goes.
Ready,
Yeah, let's
set,
do
go.
it.
Forehand or backhand?
Back and
Night matches or day matches?
night matches.
Favorite city you've played in?
Rio.
Least favorite drill?
Least favorite drill. Anything that requires like running more than like 50 yards. Like if it's long distance, I'm nope, don't do it.
Okay. Go to cheat meal.
Chipotle.
Is that cheat meal?
I mean, what's cheaper than that nowadays? Everything is so. Oh
No,
wait, cheat or cheap?
cheat.
Oh, cheat. Sorry, cheat in and out.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, cheat.
Okay, cheap. Yeah, cheap Chipotle. Yes. Okay.
Cheap for sure. Chipotle.
Yes, 100%. Serve or return?
Return.
Clay or hard court?
Clay. I'm a clay dog now.
Coaching or playing?
Playing.
Cross court rally or down the line winner?
Down the line winner.
Favorite pro to watch right now?
Carlos.
Most used app on your phone?
Spotify, I think.
Dream brand collaboration?
I mean, I would love to work with Lulu and Rolex. Rolex
Okay.
would be the number one, like because that's very unattainable. But
Yeah, but
Lululemon
more
would be like
realistic one.
a
Okay.
more realistic one. Would be Lulu, I think.
Okay. Who's the GOAT in your eyes?
Roger.
Pre-match hype song?
Ooh, it changes, but right now I have it's called "I Only Smoke When I Drink." It's like a kind of like an EDM song that gets me pumped
Okay.
up, or some
Okay.
Travis Scott.
Okay. One player you'd love to coach?
Wow,
No.
that is a stunner. Um, I would like to say Fonseca because I really like him, but he would be having to coach me. Um, I really don't know that one. I really don't know.
It's
I
okay.
mean, I
It can be a
coaching
girl too, or not.
could
I
be a
don't
girl
think it.
too. Danielle Collins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love Danielle. I'm a big Danielle fan. I know, like
Okay.
she does, she just rubs people the wrong way, and I just love it. She's nuts in a great way.
Yeah,
I wish I had her confidence.
I know. I know. We went to college at the same time.
Oh, nice.
Played her multiple times. Okay. Netflix or YouTube?
You too.
One thing you always pack for tournaments. I mean, besides the obvious things.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are tough. I'm sorry.
No. These are good. I just want to give like a good answer. One thing I always pack that has to come with me.
Yeah.
My my Uggs.
Oh,
They
okay.
have to come with me.
Everywhere.
So it feels like home.
Okay. Ice bath or a massage?
Massage. Hate ice baths.
Yeah. I know. It's like um, early morning practice or late night grind.
Early morning.
One thing people get totally wrong about you.
I think I put out like sort of like a very chill like guy kind of vibe. That's always been the case. Almost like I'm too relaxed, or I'm not like maybe I don't care. But I'm really the opposite. I'm a big ruminator. My mind is always kind of going, and so I try not to operate with like with feelings with my mind. Like I know that's just like thoughts that go in and out, in and out. But I think I'm much more. Um, I care more than maybe I put off. Like I'm more. I'm not just like so relaxed and everything is just like so easy to me or whatever it is. I think maybe that's the vibe I put, but that's not really the reality.
Okay.
I mean, it's the ideal for me to be in a balance like that,
Yeah.
like you gotta care but not care. But I think that's there was an article in college one time that was like, oh, Karue is like, so like they wrote something on the Daily Bruin, and I was like, it's just kind of not the reality, but whatever, we'll roll with it.
Yeah. Well, that good to know. Good to know. Well, these were great. This was awesome. Thank you so much for taking your
Of course.
time and good luck with your recovery. I hope it goes well. And yeah, I hope to meet you in person one day too, maybe when I'm in California and maybe we can hit
Absolutely.
some
Whenever
content
you're out here,
together.
just let me know. Where are you at in
I'm in
Florida?
Florida. I'm in
Oh, nice.
Florida. But my friend Gio, do you know
Yeah, yeah,
Gio? He's
yeah.
Brazilian. And then he said that you guys used to play or something. Or I don't know.
Yeah,
But
no,
you're both from
we kind of know
Brazil.
each other from like the Wilson like team and
Exactly,
all that stuff.
exactly. And then I played with Winston. I played
Oh,
with
nice.
him. I played with him and I did a set against the other girl now when I was there. But if I come there or something, would love to meet you in person. And yeah, good luck with everything. I'm supporting you and yeah, maybe we'll see each other
You
at
too.
Grand
Keep on
Slam
the
one day.
grind. Maybe we'll see each other at the US Open in college.
We will. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's put it on the universe. You know what I mean? Just
Yes.
the old content creators on making it to
Hey,
US Open
we're not
college. Let's
old.
do
Stop
that.
saying we're
I
old.
know. And we're
Talk for
old. Like I feel
yourself.
like for certain people, like they think like we're
I know.
dinosaurs
They're
for
like,
whatever reason. And like I feel good.
I feel great. And it's not like we've been on tour all these years. Like,
No,
we
no,
literally like stopped, like, well, you've been like on and off, but never really truly,
no, no. Last year was like my first like full like
full.
12 months on the
Yes.
tour. Like I've
Yeah.
never done it before.
I don't think I've ever done it. Even
Yeah.
last year I didn't. But like maybe this year my goal is to do it full and see how far I can get.
Yeah,
You know?
that's exactly what it is. You do a full year and again get
And
to
see.
whatever you get, and then you can
Yeah.
make the decisions. But it's not easy to just do a full year.
No.
Can you imagine
No.
doing like 10 in a row? Like
Oh
crazy.
my God. No, thanks. No, thanks. I don't love
Yeah,
tennis that
crazy.
much. But good luck with everything again, and
Thank
thank
you.
you. And
We'll
we'll
talk
see you.
soon.